Okay, good morning to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for International Student Orientation Information Session. We appreciate the fact that you have tuned in to get very relevant information for new incoming international students. Before we begin our event, let us go over some logistics for how it will go. You will be able to see us and to hear us. However, we will not be able to see you nor hear you. You will be able to submit questions in the question box. So if you look at the top of your screen, there should be two chat bubbles that have a question mark in it, and that is where you will be able to click on that box and post your question at the end of the presentation. This event is being recorded and will be posted within about 48 business hours on our YouTube channel. So you will be able to rewatch it and share it with others who were not able to be here. Closed captioning is available if you would like that assistance. It's available in different languages. So if you look for three dots right beside each other, dot, 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 if you click on it, you will see something that says turn on live captions, and you will be able to select the language that you prefer. Okay, so we are going to get into our presentation, and before we do so, I would like to say that we are definitely honored to have with us today Dr. Juan Gonzalez, the Vice Provost for Global Engagement and Dean of the Office of Graduate Education. Also with us is Beth Keithley, Faculty Grant and Distinguished Fellowships Advisor. We really appreciate them for joining us today. And so I will go ahead and call to the screen Dean Gonzalez.
Thank you, Tamara. I want to welcome all of you to UT Dallas. We are here very privileged to have a very large international component as part of our student body. And all of these international students make us a better institution. It adds diversity to our campus. I want to thank, first of all, Leticia, Tamara, and their fantastic ICP team for the great work that they do to help our students integrate into our UTD family. As Tamara said, I'm Juan Gonzalez. I'm the Dean of Graduate Education, and I want you to take advantage of the many services that our Office of Graduate Education offers to all of you. Beth will tell you a little bit more about them and how to get in touch with us. But in the meantime, I would love to tell you a little bit of history about UT Dallas. And if I can have the next slide. UT Dallas was founded by three visionaries, Eugene McDermott, Eric Johnson, and Cecil Green. And when you get to campus, you will see their names prominently displayed in many of our buildings. They were scientific entrepreneurs. They were the founders of Texas Instrument, and they deeply value education. So they decided to establish in 1961 the Graduate Research Center of the Southwest to attract and retain talent in the North Texas area. If I can have the next slide. These visionaries later on renamed this research center the Southwest Center for Advanced Studies in 1967. And then in 1969, the founders transferred the assets to the state of Texas. And it was at that time that the University of Texas at Dallas was founded. Roughly speaking, 52 years ago. So we're a very young institution. If I can have the next slide. It was in 1975 that the institution added juniors and seniors. So before that, it was exclusively a graduate institution, masters and PhDs, like many of you are. In 1975, they added the juniors and the seniors. And in 1986, we approved the engineering school. And it was not until 1990 that the first freshman class entered UT Dallas. If I can have the next slide. Our vision is to become one of the best public research universities in the United States and one of the greatest universities in the world. We want to offer excellent research and excellent education to not only the students from the state of Texas, but also all around the world. And we want to be engaged with these students to be productive members of our society. If I can have the next slide. Our goals are to be a top-tier research university. We want to be a force in interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research and education. We want to ask those important questions that face us in terms of healthcare and the environment and business and policymaking. And we want to form a great relationship with the government, with other institutions, with local universities and international universities, and to produce well-respected and responsible global citizens. As in total, we want to be a creative and very innovative university. If I can have the next slide. We have grown dramatically in this last 25 years, especially. We have 145 academic programs in 8 schools, 30 PhD programs, 1 program in audiology. We have over 29,000 students. About 1/3 of those students are graduate students. Our incoming freshmen have some of the highest SAT scores of any public university in the state of Texas. We have 560 plus tenure and tenure track faculty, over 800 non-tenure track faculty, and we have one of the best staff that you're going to find in any university in the United States. We spend, roughly speaking, about $130 million in research expenditures every year, and in the last year, we have completed or started over $1 billion in infrastructure changes on campus. So when you come here or join us, you're going to see a lot of very, very solid and very good infrastructure that has been recently built as part of our research and educational mission. I can have the next slide. I'm very proud to tell you that not long ago, one of our alumni won the Nobel Prize in chemistry. So maybe among you, there will be the next alumni that will be the recipient of a Nobel Prize. He won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for his work with DNA repair. Aziz Sankar is a proud member of our community in here and stays quite engaged with our university. The next part of this presentation will be by Beth Keithley. She's going to tell you a little bit about all the different services that we provide in the Office of Graduate Education in ways to get in touch with us. When you're on campus, please come and visit. Tell us how you're doing. Don't hesitate to connect with us whenever you need any kind of help. We will be able to connect you with the right office on campus. And again, welcome to UT Dallas. I'm glad to see you here. Beth?
Thank you, Dean Gonzalez. Yeah, so the Dean did a great job talking about how the how UTD is its history is rooted in graduate education, and I am going to talk about how that history, as the Dean said, makes it possible for how we react to that history and some of the things you can do in your future experience as a on-campus UTD student. So our mission, I think you can probably see how it connects to the UTD vision of becoming a world-class research institution. We are looking to challenge students. So obviously the quality of our research is very dependent on the quality of our graduate students, and engaged and happy and challenged graduate students will improve the way anybody will improve in a situation where they're asked to grow. So it is our job to help make that happen, and to also help make sure that your education goes smoothly, you get your degree, and we get you done and out in a timely manner. If I could have the next slide, please. So to that end, our commitment to you is that we will help and be an advocate in your intellectual and professional development. One of the things I want to say is a couple of the ways that our office looks at itself. We look at ourselves, so you will be very involved in your labs or your faculty group, and you will be very involved in your department, you'll be very involved in your school, and the Office of Graduate Education looks at itself as the spoke. There will be things that you do not understand about how UTD works or how specifically you need to do something, and that is fine, and that is good, and that is normal. And the way we look at our job as the Office of Graduate Education is to be a place where you have, when you have those questions, and you will, to say, I don't even know who to ask, but I am a graduate student, so I'm going to ask the Office of Graduate Education. So we've got here our main grad education at UTD, or at utdallas.edu. I highly recommend you connect with us on social media. You'll find out about events and things going on that way. But if you just have a general question and you're like, I just don't even know who to ask, send it to gradeducation@utdallas.edu, and our staff is on this. I'm on it several times a day. We have people who are on it more than their own inbox, I think, and we will get you to the right place. So if you ever send an email and you get the answer to, oh, that's not really our area, the person you want to talk to is this person, you should look at that as mission accomplished, not that you wasted anyone's time sending an email to the wrong place. So I just want to make that very clear. Our programming is divided, or what we do is divided into two main categories. We have things like what I do and some other people here where we do programs and workshops and events that you will see. We also have a lot of people to that point I said about making sure everything goes smoothly and getting you done and graduated in a timely manner. We have a lot of staff who work more with your academic advisors than with you. And again, that's fine. But when I do the staff list in a second, and if you go to the next slide, I will start that process. You will probably not meet several of the people on the slides. And again, that's fine. You've already met our dean. He is helped by Dr. Rugg, who is the Associate Dean for Graduate Education. She oversees Graduate Professional Week, which is a week-long event in October, which is something, save the date already for participating in some of those social and professional development events, but also helps with a lot of the advising, working with the advising aspects of what we do. I will talk a little bit more about what I do in a minute. Leela here is actually at the moment extremely busy getting ready for the hooding ceremony for our PhD students. So you will be hearing from her definitely when we get to there. Ladwina Evans is an administrative assistant, often one of the first people you'll see when you come into the office. And Tangi works with her on making sure our financials are moving smoothly. Go to the next slide. Thanks. So Eric and his team, which consists of Victoria, Brooke, and Stephanie, so that whole top row there, they work on what is called certification and verification of your degrees. And that, again, I don't want you to worry about that. I just want you to be aware in case you hear these words of what's going on. And that is how that is working with your academic advisor behind the scenes. You do not have to, work with that or be part of that process in order to make sure things go smoothly. Victoria also, you may hear her name or get emails from her regarding TARA orientation, while the schools and the departments, so engineering, behavioral and brain science, arts and humanities, they will hire their own TAs and RAs. We make sure that there's a main orientation that covers things like benefits and some questions or some issues that are common across the schools. So you'll be hearing from Victoria for that. And when you get there for thesis and dissertation writing, Allison and Alyssa are the graduate readers, and they make sure your formatting is done correctly and will help you with the logistics of your defenses. So when you get there, we have support for you, but so know when you're ready, we will help. So I said earlier, and if you could go to the next slide, please, that we're sort of that we think of ourselves as a spoke that connects you to the wheel of UT Dallas, or your one-stop shop, if that is a metaphor that works a little more easily for you. So one of the things we do is we partner with a lot of resources on campus to, again, provide when you have a question, we can get you to the right person. So we'll have a bunch of workshops with the University Career Center. I did one not too long ago on personal statements. The library does a bunch of events. The library and I work on a finding funding workshop that we do a couple times a year. The Military and Veterans Center, we do opportunities with them. The Wellness Center, you can read this list just as well as I can read it to you. But again, there are offices and services that are provided for all students across campus, and a lot of times students just aren't aware of them. So one of the ways we help students become aware of the services and how these offices can work for you is just to do joint workshops and say, hey, this is what they do. So if you're curious and you see a workshop and you're like, well, I don't even really know what the counseling center does or how the Office of Research would do something for me, it's a good opportunity to take a little bit of time and learn those things so that when you need these services or you have these questions, you know who to talk to. So next slide, please. This is just some visual aids to show some of the workshops that we have done. You can see we've got, you know, grant writing, we've got just general writing, writing with style. We do poster competitions. That's primarily with the Office of Research. We just offer support there. And then, so if you're looking at these slides to my earlier point, you're like, I see this, what is a DOI anyway? And I have no idea what a DOI is, you know, take an hour and then figure it out. It could be extremely useful for you. Next slide, please. Thanks. Just some more posters of what we do. You can see here, student health services as an overview. We've got a couple to my point about just having offices give other offices an opportunity to talk about how they help graduate students. You can see we've got the graduate students vet presentation and a student health services presentation. And then we've got some specific things like, you know, managing long-term research assignments. So all of these are open to you. They are free and available at different times. Just keep an eye. We on our website have a upcoming, we call ourselves OGE, Office of Graduate Education events page, and you can just kind of look at that occasionally and get an idea of everything that we're doing. All right, next slide, please. I do want to do a plug. They are not affiliated with us. But you know, the Graduate Student Assembly, of course, we would know about them. We work with them, but I highly recommend one of the first things you do, whether it's once you're done with this webinar or after you get to campus, is that you see if your school or department has a graduate student association or assembly. You know, Arts and Humanities has a strong one here on campus. There's a criminal justice one. There's chemistry. You're getting the idea. They're all over the place and they are very specific to the department or the discipline. I would recommend you become involved with that. And also the Graduate Student Assembly. This is their information. I think they're actually in the process of putting together their cabinet for next year. So this board may not be correct. And then also look into some of the, you know, international, there are, you know, Women Who Code, but sort of get involved with as many of the organizations and groups that are available to you that you identify with in some way. It really does help you not only find your people on campus, but it also gives you an opportunity to learn about the campus from people who are probably are aware of things that will probably be useful for you as well. So that's one of the first things I recommend you do. There's their email, their Facebook and Instagram, and even though they are getting a new cabinet, all this contact information is correct. So I keep saying that I'm going to talk about what it is that I do and what our office does, and I've been very vague, but with the next slide, I'm going to dive into some specifics. So I work with fellowship support, so that is funding, that is not financial aid. So TARA ships are financial aid. I'm not going to turn this into a fellowship info session, but we offer a grant writing certificate program for any student, master's, PhD, that is free to participate in. There is an info session already scheduled for the spring, so check out our upcoming events page to learn about that. We have two forms of ways to get money directly from our office. We have a PhD small grant and a dissertation research award. Again, in the spring, I always have some info sessions, so look on the OGE site for that. And then I just generally have some application workshops on application writing. So if you are interested in finding a fellowship, if you are interested in looking for funding, if you have no idea what I am saying right now, but you know that having some additional financial support would be a good thing, I'm your face for that. And look on the OGE opportunities to just sort of see what's available. I will have a Finding Funding for International Students event in the spring. It's not on the calendar right now. It will be by the end of the week. So just know those things are coming. I mentioned when we were looking at staff with Allison and Alyssa that there is thesis and dissertation support when you are ready. We have support for virtual defenses. We have support for in-person defenses. And also for your thesis and dissertation, we offer templates on how to format it and work through the approval process with you. Writing support. So some people are like, well, I don't really want to write fellowships, but I do have to do a lot of writing while I'm here, and I could use some help with that. We have some workshops. You saw the Writing with Style a flyer. We offer those workshops, and then we offer some one-on-one information for essays, applications, personal statements. There is a form on our website for how to get that one-on-one support from our office. And if we could go to the next slide, please. I mentioned again with Eric and his team, the degree certification and verification. Hopefully, if everything goes smoothly, you will just have that all happen in the background, but it does happen. And if you hear those words, certification and verification, you just know that's something that our office is doing and things are moving forward with that. And when I showed you Victoria, when I was doing the staff and showed you Victoria, I mentioned the teaching and research assistantships. So with terms of policy and orientation and things that are relevant to every TA or RA, regardless of school, we are supportive in that. I know that's a lot, and I know I talked a lot in code that probably, fellowship, certification, that a lot of words that probably didn't make a lot of sense to you because you are a new graduate student and you're not familiar with those terms yet, and that is okay. What I want you to take away from this presentation, if nothing else, is to echo what Dean Gonzalez said, is that we are glad you are here. And it is our office's job to help you feel comfortable and to navigate the confusing things that just come from being a graduate student. So remember our main email address. Remember that we are in Founders Annex 3.104. Oh, that needs the next slide. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. If you could move to the next slide. Founders Annex 3.104, we are here and available for you. Our phone number, I would recommend the email. We are faster and easier to get a hold of by email, which I think just means we're like everybody else in the universe. But if you are on social media, take time to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. You'll get a lot of information about upcoming events, how to participate, and just sort of a general overview of who we are and what we do. I know I went through that fast, but really this was a lot of this is what we think we want to know, but we want to give you plenty of time to ask the questions about what you want to know about what we do so that when you come on campus, you can feel more comfortable. So with that, I'm going to thank you very much for your time and say that we are here to answer your questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Beth, and also Dean Gonzalez for sharing this very important information that I know that most of our incoming students will need to utilize during their study here at UT Dallas. Okay, well, we have come to the end of our presentation. I have opened the chat, and in the chat, I have posted some links that were from the presentation. So if you would like to reach out to the Graduate Student Assembly, their information is there, how to contact them on their social media. Also, the social media for the Office of Graduate Education is there as well. The links do post a little bit funny in the chat just because the formatting is a bit restricted there, but the information is there. So if you do have any questions, as Beth just said, that the OGE office wants to be the office where if you do have questions, then they will be the ones that you can reach out to and they can answer them for you, or they can direct you to where you can get the question answered. So if you took the time to join us and you were thinking of sending an email in the future, why send an email? Why wait until the presentation ends to send an email? Why not take the chance to ask your question right now while we have the staff here with us? So once again, if you would like to post the question in the chat, just look for 2 chat bubbles. And they should have a question mark in it. And if you click on that, then you should have the option to be able to post your question in the chat. Okay, let me see. I just opened it, so there may not be any questions quite just as yet. Okay, none just as yet. But I guess, Beth, I do have a question, because I know that students come in and some of our students are, maybe some / many, are interested in the TA and the RA positions. And I know that is managed by someone else, I believe, but maybe if you could just give a brief, maybe just like a synopsis of like what a TA is versus like an RA.
Oh, sure. That's a good point. Thank you, Tamara. Yeah, I've been on the campus for a very long time. So anytime you need to call, any of you who need to say, you're talking in code again, Beth, I do. I'm sorry. So a TA is a teaching assistant and an RA is a research assistant. The difference, theoretically, sometimes there's some overlap and some merging, is that as a teaching assistant, if you are a teaching assistant, you are assisting a professor, faculty member with teaching. And okay, Beth, thank you, very good. But what that means is you may be teaching a section of the course, you may be doing grading of exams, you may host a lab section. It varies by school. But at the end of the day, your job in your assistantship is to support teaching, whether it be to actually teach, and usually it is, or it is to do grading and working, having office hours to help students with problems in the class. Whatever that looks like, it will be, you will feel like you're teaching when you talk to people about what it is that you do, you teach, or you help teaching. Our research assistant is usually, that there can be some teaching elements of the research assistantship, but usually those are students who are in more of the science and engineering and technology aspects, where there is a lab that is doing work, funded work, research on the projects. And what you are doing as a research assistantship is you are not only doing experiments and getting data and running data and all that good stuff, but you will also be usually providing some sort of mentorship to undergraduate students. So there is that teaching aspect, but it's more in the lab than it is in the classroom. Did that help?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I would say, I would say so. Yes, that was definitely helpful to understand the difference between those two.
Tamara, may I add to that a little bit? And thank you, Beth.
Oh no, please.
Explanation. One issue that I wanted to point out, that both of those positions are usually determined, as Beth said at the beginning, by the schools, specific by the schools. So if you're interested in those kind of positions, reach out to your school. Some of them have a process in which students can apply for the position, and you have to qualify and be able to engage in that type of work. But it's always exclusively determined by the school or by the unit. So please go and talk to your advisor in your school and inquire more about those possibilities.
Okay, that's great. That's good to know. Actually, I did not know that. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I mean, it would make sense because the particular school itself knows what it is looking for. And I'm sure it might vary from school to school. So it would make sense that they would be the ones to have to, kind of make those decisions and, what they're looking for in the application process and from the candidates, etc. So awesome. Okay. All right. So you heard it here. If that is something that you are interested in, it is you will be a student, but you also have to be working as well. So you also have to think about if you are a person that can take on the responsibilities of doing those. But once again, as Dean Gonzalez said, for more information, it's better to reach out to the particular school or program that has that opportunity, and they'll be able to give you the rundown of it all. Okay, so there are some questions in the chat at the moment. I will go to them right now. The first question says, okay, I'm not sure if this is actually meant for the OGE office, but we'll try to figure it out. It says, I have already sent attested documents through courier from India. Is it required to do a verification again?
Tamara, I can handle that. If you already sent your official documents or ask your university back in India to send your official documents, then you should be fine. As soon as the registrar office receives those documents, they will inform you that they are completed. So just make sure that your institution will send them directly to the registrar office.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And yes, the office right now, I'm sure, is probably processing quite a bit of documents from students, and so I know some offices will have like an automatic reply or something when you email them about maybe what a wait time might be or something like that. But yes, we're definitely working on processing documents for incoming students, so you should hear from them within a reasonable amount of time. Okay, here's another question. It says, when will we get the results of the graduate studies scholarship?
That I assume that they are specific to the school. Each school has programs. JSON, for example, ACS for specific graduate scholarships. They will inform you directly the result of those scholarships. So you should stay in touch with your department or with your unit, and they will let you know when the results are ready.
Okay. Yes, and that is another thing. If we can maybe mention / emphasize the American university system is quite decentralized in terms of its operations. And so, depending on where you are coming from, I know I'm from Jamaica, and, we did have different offices and departments, but I would say coming to America, it's way more, decentralized compared to what I'm used to. So you do have to pay specific attention. I always tell students and say, if you kind of want to know who to ask a question to, pay attention to who communicated with you about something. So if you get an email, about something, if you just go to the very bottom and look on the email signature, you can see what office it's from or the person that sent it and what office they're from. And that's kind of like a good way to know, who to ask. But once again, as the OGE office said, you can reach out to them if you are unable to get this information or the information is not provided, and they can direct you. Okay, here's another question. I'm not sure if this is meant for the registrar's office, but it says, I've sent documents electronically. My university has emailed UTD with transcripts and degree certificates. So do I still have to submit a hard copy?
If your university is capable of sending the documents electronically, they will be accepted by the registrar in that form. You don't have to submit any documents at this point. So just wait for your university to submit those and for the registrar to acknowledge they received them.
Okay, great. And that is good to hear because we can save paper. And also, you know, we don't have to worry about, you know, taking them in transit and what if something happens to them. So that's good to know. Okay, that's very helpful information. Okay, I don't see any more questions as yet. Once again, if you do have questions for the OGE office, go ahead and take the time to ask them now. It's good to be prepared to know what you are going to get into. And I know a lot of students, of course, like to talk to other students to ask them about their experience and what things are like, and that is good. You should take a multifaceted approach to get your information, but I think it can also be helpful if you can actually ask the professional staff to get their point of view, kind of from the staff point of view. That could be a different perspective, and you can actually get a bit of different information than asking someone that is a student. So make use of the opportunity while you're here. Okay, here's a question. Okay, this question says, hi, this is Sumita from India. Hi, Sumita from India. We are not getting F1 visa appointments, I guess getting them after 4 months. What if we reach late and they miss classes? So I guess the question is, what if, you know, they're not able to get their visa, you know, to be able to process all their immigration documents, but then, you know, they kind of get it done, but they are able to get here after the start of class, or maybe not get here, but that's kind of like when they look at the timeline, it would have them starting classes like after classes have officially started. Are there any issues with that?
That's a great question, Tamara. Sumita, keep working with your local consulate or embassy to make sure that you get your visa as soon as possible. You can arrive up to a week late for your classes. The faculty are aware that some students may be a little bit late and will accommodate you and help you catch up with your classes. Usually, the port of entry doesn't allow students to come much later than a week after classes start. So we encourage you to be here as soon as possible so you don't miss many of your classes and you start the best way possible. If you're going to be late, stay in touch with our ISSO office and they will continue helping you in the process. And maybe if you need to defer for a later semester, we can help you with that process too. But I hope that the embassy or the consulate is going to be able to give you your visa and you will be able to join us soon.
Okay. All right. Okay. Here's another question. It says, I do not see any holds on my account. Does that mean nothing is pending from my end?
I think that probably means that you're ready to join us. So we hope to see you soon.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And yeah, if you do not have any holds, then you seems like you have taken care of everything. But I would say still keep an eye, out because, you know, if, you know, let's say you have submitted whatever documents, but even after you submitted documents, they still need to be reviewed, right? And they still need to be approved or whatever it is. What if more information is needed from you? So I would still keep an eye out. I mean, you don't have to kind of obsess over it, I would say, over your Galaxy, but just keep an eye out so that in case something does pop up there, because then you don't want to be stressing out if you just check it like the day before class or something. And then now you're stressing out, you're trying to get stuff taken care of, and especially if stuff involve international, you know, timing for things. So just keep an eye out. You know, I would just take a look at it like maybe some days before, at least a week before class or something, to see if anything pops up. But yeah, overall, so far, it sounds like you are doing well.
Tamara, I would like to add that for those students, you will not have holds right now, but as soon as you arrive, you're required to complete your ICP, the International Intercultural Programs orientations, and make sure that those are completed. You also are required to report to the ISSO and present your documentation, and you're also required to complete a TB test. Those are all requirements that you have to complete once you arrive on campus. You can as soon as you arrive, please get in touch with those 3 offices to complete those requirements.
Yes, yes, and thank you so much for that reminder, Dean Gonzalez. Those are all very important tasks that you have to do. So whatever email you're getting, communication about things that you need to do, make sure to take care of them, because you actually, if you do not take care of them, then you could see a hold put on your account, on the first day of class, and you don't want to have to go into all of that. So be proactive and take care of it ahead of time. Okay, we do have another question. It says, hi, I'm joining MS in Business Analytics in spring 2022. Am I eligible for TA or RA in my first semester? If so, how do I apply for it?
I can handle that one too, Tamara. Well, congratulations. The Business Analytics program is a fantastic program. I'm glad you're joining it. Usually JSOM does not allow TA-ships on the first semester. It's usually on the second semester, but I encourage you to get in touch with your unit, with Business Analytics. They are a great team over there, great set of advisors, and they will give you more details about the process and how to apply, what requirements they have for TA-ships in their unit.
Okay, great. Okay, here's another, I believe this is a question, but I think it's missing a little bit of information. I'm not sure if this question is adding to one that was already asked or if this is a new one, but it says, so basically the person that posted this in the chat, if you put, I'm talking in terms of degree certificates and transcripts. I'm not sure exactly what that question is referring to. I know that there was a question that was asked earlier about sending documents electronically, and Dean Gonzalez had already answered that question. So I'm not sure if that's like a follow-up, or if you would like further clarification, just go ahead and put it in the chat. But we did already respond to about sending those documents electronically. So, okay, I'm going to choose that. Okay, let's see, no new questions as yet. Actually, I do have a question for Beth. Beth, I do see on your website that there is the date that is there for the TARA. So there is a TARA orientation. Is it okay for, well, I guess whoever it is that is going to be a part of that orientation should already have received communication for that. But the due date for it is it's kind of like right before classes start. Is it okay if I go ahead and share that just in case?
Oh, sure. Go ahead. But yes, you'll get information. I mean, you can share the date. You'll get information on how to attend and the logistical details. If you need to be there, you will find that students will find that, especially right before classes start, there's a lot of things that they need to attend. And my recommendation would be, if you don't need to be at something, there are plenty of opportunities for you to participate and join, but there are lots of sort of prep for the beginning of the semester meetings. And if you don't need to go to the TARA orientation, yeah, don't. There might be a resource fair afterwards that would be useful, and that'll be open to everybody. But yeah, if you want to share the date, Tamara, go ahead. But yes, if you need to be there, you will be getting emails from either GradEd at UT Dallas or from Victoria Morales directly.
Okay, and I guess while we're talking about this topic, as Beth just said, pay attention to the emails, because I know sometimes in our office intercultural programs, we will have students email us and they'll say, hi, I completed my modules in e-learning for graduate orientation, and we're just like, that's not our office. So I know, as Beth said, there will be a lot of things that you'll be doing, and so it can get a little bit confusing, but just slow down and just see who is sending, what office is sending, so that you can make sure you are taking care of the right things. But yes, so the TARA orientation modules, they said that it will be available online on January the 3rd. So that is the beginning of well, it's not the beginning of the year, but yeah, it's the beginning of the year, you could say. And they're due by January the 7th. So that is a really, quick turnaround time. So if this TA or RA opportunity is something that's important to you, then you want to make sure to take care of those modules. And put it on your calendar, whatever you need to do to plan ahead to make sure that you get them done. Write it down on your calendar, set a reminder to make sure that you take care of that orientation. Because if you have never been a TA or RA before, then you will have no idea what you're doing. And so you want to make sure that you are trained so that the person that is supervising you, of course, they will probably do some kind of training as well, but, you do want to come in with some kind of knowledge of so many things, right? There may be laws you might need to be aware of, education laws, etc. So definitely take care of those modules. And as Beth mentioned, a resource fair for TARAs will be available, and that will be a little bit later on January the 14th. So once again, as Beth said, you will be, having to do a lot of things, but just if you plan them out, that's going to be the best way for you to take care of them instead of just, putting them off and then being overwhelmed at the last minute. That might not be the best time management strategy to employ. Okay. So I do have some other questions. Okay, here's a question. It says, I am an incoming MS ITM student. Recently, we had our subjects registration, and I have specifically opted for a faculty. And after some 2 weeks, they have changed the faculty. But the whole point of registration with specific timelines was choosing according to our preferences. But at the end, it has been changed. Is there an alternative to this?
I can handle that one too, Tamara. Again, congratulations to the student. ITM is a fantastic program. There is sometimes some fluidity in our scheduling. There are changes of faculty members, there are addition of new sections depending on how popular particular classes are. So you may encounter sometimes that the sort of registration process changes a little bit. But if you have any doubts or you have any concerns about the particular course or section that you enroll in, please get in touch with the advisors. The JSOM advisors are fantastic and they will guide you through the process.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, here's another question. It looks very similar to one that we have already answered. Sometimes Teams does do some weird things, but I'll go ahead and read this in case this is from a different person. So it says, I don't see any holes in my account. Does that mean nothing is pending from my end? I have submitted documents electronically, meaning my university has mailed them. Does this mean nothing is pending from my end? And do I still have to submit hard copies?
Usually it means that you're okay with the registrar's office, that your documents have been received. Just make sure that your university, that you requested your documents. If you did and they are received, then everything will be fine. Again, I want to emphasize that there are some holes that will be put on later on, as Tamara said, if you don't comply with the requirements of the TV test and the ICP orientations and the ISSO documentation revision. But as long as your record looks like you don't have any holes, it looks like you're ready to start.
And if I may add, hello, my name is Leticia Samarripa. I just would like to clarify, we know you have a lot of tasks to do, and we are going to post a very useful checklist of all the things you have to do pre-arrival, and also all the things you need to do concerning post-arrival activities. We organize this list hoping it can ease your job of remembering everything that you need to do. As Dean Gonzalez mentioned, if you don't see any holes right now, it means that we have lifted the holes for you to have a very smooth registration process, but you still have to remember to do some things, and this is the reason of why we have organized this checklist. Could you please, Tamara, post it so they can follow up with that. And again, as Dean Gonzalez said, if you do not comply with any of these tasks that you're supposed to do, you will get a hold. But hopefully all of you are very proactive, and we know that you are working already on the different tasks that you have to do pre-arrival. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Dean Gonzalez, and also to Leticia. And this actually is a good point, because typically what we have done as a university is typically students are used to seeing holes on their account. And so this, well, I haven't been here that long to say if it is the first time, but it's the first time since I've been here, the first semester, that we are not putting the holes on. I can't say for every single office is not doing that, but maybe a lot of offices are not doing that. So I can see how for students, it is very different for them, because they are coming in, and especially if they have spoken with other students who are here currently, they would have experienced having holes on their account. And so now they're coming in and they're saying, I don't have any holes on my account, so that means I have nothing to do. So yes, we definitely understand from your standpoint as the incoming student, this is something that is different for you. It is something that's different for staff as well. But I went ahead and I posted in the chat section. So if you go to the chat, we do have a pre-arrival and post-arrival checklist that our office, in collaboration with the ISSO office, have put together in terms of tasks or duties that are things that you would need to take care of prior to your arrival in the United States. So I highly recommend that you check that list out. And if you can just, go through that checklist and see, okay, I need to do this, this, and that, then you should be in good hands. However, once again, your email is going to be a great resource. If an office is emailing you, asking you for something, you want to make sure to go ahead and do it, right? So if an office is emailing you saying, we don't have this, or, we received some of this, but we did not receive this other part of it, then make sure to go ahead and take care of it. An office is not going to ask you for something unless it is needed. So the checklist is helpful, but if you do get, maybe there is something that an office is asking for, then you want to make sure to go ahead and give it to them, because they're asking you for it. Especially if you are an incoming student, they're asking you because they need it to process your application, or to make sure that everything is taken care of. Because once again, just to go a little bit behind the scenes, all the documentation that you submit to us are documents that we need to have on record to make sure that we are in compliance with state and federal government. So if an office is asking you for something, it probably is important, and it probably is really important. So please, if an office is asking you for documentation or for more information, whatever it is, and if you do have questions about it, then ask the office, ask them to clarify, etc. But once again, if they're asking you for something, it probably is required. And not only just required on the university standpoint, but to the point where we have to submit this information to other authorities to make sure that we are in compliance with what we need to do as a school. So yeah, so check out the checklist and take care of the tasks, do your time management. If you're a person that likes to write stuff down, write things down. If you're checking in your Outlook, if you should have a UT Dallas email address already. If you haven't logged into it, maybe try doing that. And I know some people, utilize their personal email accounts, but what if you're getting emails sent to your UT Dallas email address? So maybe that's something that you can look into to see if there's anything that is being asked of you. And just go ahead and take care of it as soon as you can. Don't put it off. Of course, we understand that some things do need a little bit more time to get taken care of. But if it's something that you can do, just go ahead and get it done so that you can check it off your checklist and you'll be all set. Okay, let's see, any more questions in the chat? Very good question so far, very good. I don't see any new questions. So we're coming up to the end of 10 a.m. So I'm just going to say maybe last call for questions. If you do have questions, go ahead and drop them in now so that we can get them answered for you to help prepare you for your stay, your studies here at UT Dallas. Well, I guess if I could make a comment until a question comes in, I think it's really neat looking on the OGE services slide that you shared on Beth about the support that is there for the grant writing support and the thesis and dissertation support and the writing workshops. I mean, that is so helpful because, I mean, who knows how to write a grant? Who knows how to write a grant except for the people that have experience in writing grants, right? And in successfully, you know, getting those grants. So I think it's so awesome that students are not just, you know, having to Google, how do I write a grant? Because you know, it would be a Google University situation. So it's so awesome that y'all have these workshops.
Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you. Also, just as a general plug for grant writing, you will find that there's academic writing, which is what you do in the classroom, but grant writing is closer to professional writing than academic writing. So if you are thinking, I'm going to go work in an industry, having an idea of how to grant writing is also helpful for that too. But then we also have workshops on, you know, emailing and things like that, just the how to write that. But I'm going to stop there because otherwise I will launch here and we will spend the next 4 hours talking about grant writing. But thank you. Yes, we are proud of the program.
Yes, no, it's a great resource, and please, it is the reality of the field, right? That you want to do research, but your research, somebody has to pay for it, right? It has to be funded, and so that's a reality of it. So thank you so much to your office and the staff that provide those workshops for helping the students out. Okay, well, here's a question from Mariana Herrera. It says, hello, thank you for all the information. Is there another checklist with the tasks required for a TA or RA?
I can answer that one, Tamara. Mariana, congratulations on your admission. We're looking forward to seeing you. There's no specific task list. You should be receiving an email very soon if you haven't received it yet from Victoria Morales from our office on the instructions on how to join our TARA orientation. We will have a face-to-face portion that is not required, but I encourage you to attend. And we will also have a series of modules that you're going to have to take, and we will certify that you have taken them. And once that is certified, then you will be ready to join your unit. Your particular unit may have an additional orientation for their TAs and RAs, so pay attention to communication from your units.
Okay, great. Okay, so here's a question. I believe this is maybe meant more for ISSO, but I will read this aloud just in case others who are listening on the live do have that same question. It says, can you provide a list of tests or documents to submit or carry for international travel from India?
The ISSO has been sending regular communication to all of our incoming students. Please check your email because you should have quite a few communications where they explain what is required for entry into the country. Remember, there are specific requirements now in terms of vaccination and in terms of testing before you come into the country. And they have been sending regularly a very nice newsletter to all of our incoming students. Again, if you are not in that list, reach out to ISSO to make sure that you get that information on a regular basis.
Great. Okay, and here is another question that we have. It says, I will arrive in Dallas on December the 22nd. Is it possible for me to collect my student ID and to do other procedures on December the 23rd or the 24th, considering the holiday season? Will UT Dallas be open during this time?
So
that is a great question.
I can actually.
Oh, go ahead, Beth. You go ahead.
No, I was going to say that is a good question. It is a fair question. I can tell you that the Comment Card office, which is where you would get your ID, is actually going to be working remotely from December 20. So the short answer to your question is no. The long answer is that the Comment Card office is actually going to be working remotely starting December 20 to 22nd, which basically means they'll be available to answer questions, and they will resume in-person service on January 3rd. Most of the university is closed for the winter break starting on the 23rd, which usually means that we are looking at emails, but are not but to the question about can I come to campus and get an ID, the answer to that is no, sorry, not until January 3rd.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And yes, that is so true. So definitely, trying to plan ahead and look ahead. That first week of the week before classes it's going to be a busy time. So the person that asked this question, thank you for that question, and other students as well that have those same tasks that they need to complete. They'll be working on completing those tasks as well too. So be prepared to, once again, just time management, organization is just going to be the best way. If you have a lot of things you have to do on campus, then planning to maybe come to the campus and just spending a whole day or whatever it is to try to knock everything out. That could be a good use of time. But yes, the holiday season, winter break is coming, and yeah, that will be definitely a factor. So thank you so much for that question. That was a very good question. Okay, let's see if we have any more new questions. Oh, okay, I don't see any additional questions. Oh, and maybe if I could add to that, to the person that posted the question, or I guess anyone that will be arriving to the campus, if you are coming in as an international student, you should already be aware of the airport pickups that are available via Big Howdy. So they have an airport pickup that their wonderful volunteers do free of service out of the kindness of their heart and the love for UT Dallas students. So you can sign up for that. But definitely it is winter break, holiday season kind of coming up. So the DART system, which is the public transportation system, if you will be here and kind of going around on public transportation, just maybe also be mindful of their scheduling as well, just in case their hours are a bit different, modified for the holiday season. Okay, don't see any new questions, so I guess I'll take it to say that we have answered the questions that the students wanted to know about. And if you do think of anything, maybe after this session has ended, once again, you can always communicate with the Office of Graduate Education. Their contact information is on the screen. And yeah, you can reach out to them and they'll be happy to assist you. Okay, well, the question just came in. Okay, let's see. This question says, in case of, okay, this person has submitted a question before about them not being able to get here for the first day of class. So they're saying, in case of late visa appointment, and if I go for deferment, then do I have to, again, apply for an I-20 and pay a CVIS fee and the visa fee?
Tamara, I believe the answer to that question is no, but I want you to reach out to ISSO to get the most accurate information on that. If you need to defer, just contact ISSO and they will be able to provide you with more information.
Yes, so if you can email, I believe their email is ISSO@utdallas.edu, and ask them this very question that you just asked us right now, because this is very immigration related, and the ISSO office would be the office to answer that question more accurately for you. So once again, that question and anybody else that does have a question similar in regards to immigration documents or I-20, you can email ISSO prospective So that's the word prospective at utdallas.edu, and they will be happy to help you. Thank you for the question. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and, okay, the person said thank you. So thank you to Beth and Dean Gonzalez. You are welcome, Sumita from India. Okay, well, thank you so much to everyone that has joined us today. Thank you so much to Dean Gonzalez and also to Beth Keepley and Leticia Zamaripa for being on this, being in this Teams live information session to help our incoming students. And I know that you'll have questions that you'll think about after this. So once again, reach out to the Office of Graduate Education. If it is something for Intercultural Programs Office, if you have a question for us, you can email us at icprograms@utdallas.edu. So thank you once again to everyone. We hope that you continue to stay safe wherever you are, and we'll be looking forward to see you in spring. Take care, everyone. Goodbye. Bye.